Hi guys, here's an article from the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, November 1st, 2017. Democrats threaten to regulate Facebook, Twitter, Google, do something to stop Russian propaganda, quote, or we will. On Wednesday, lawyers for Facebook, Twitter, and Google faced down Democrat lawmakers who essentially threatened them for not shutting down Russian propaganda during the 2016 election cycle. Here we have dinosaur Dianne Feinstein trying to be relevant again, when she ought to be put out to pasture with the rest of them. It says here Democrats have been adamant that distribution of Russian propaganda on social media played a major role in Hillary Clinton's election defeat and are now seeking to use that assumption as a lever to regulate the internet giants. Well, one more thing to add to the huge list of Hillary Clinton's "it wasn't me, it was them" list. Senator Dianne Feinstein, Democrat from California, complained that the platforms have been misused. She threatened, quote, "You have to be the ones to do something about it, or we will." Feinstein blasted them. "I must say, I don't think you get it. You're general counsels. You defend your company. What we're talking about is a cataclysmic change. What we're talking about is the beginning of cyber warfare. What we're talking about is a major foreign power with the sophistication and ability to involve themselves in a presidential election and sow conflict and discontent all over this country. Not like we ever interfered in anybody else's elections." But she goes on to say, "We are not going to go away, gentlemen, and this is a very big deal. I went home last night with profound disappointment. I asked specific questions. I got vague answers." Hello, Democrat. You ought to be used to that by now. Anyway, and that just won't do. You have a huge problem on your hands, and the U.S. is going to be the first of the countries to bring it to your attention, and other countries are going to follow, I'm sure, because you bear this responsibility. Feinstein wasn't the only Democrat talking about cracking down on First Amendment exercise for purposes of preventing foreign election interference. Senator Ron Wyden, of course, from Oregon, "We'd like to walk out of here knowing the changes you're going to support." Well, hello, Ron. You need to be uprooted and de-seated in the next coming elections. Anyway, we'll discuss that later. Now, there's little question that the Russians were interested in sowing discord in the country. I'm sorry, but being interested in it and actually doing it are two different things. At least it is in this country. But the efforts singled out by the Democrats were singly idiotic. They included this graphic of Buff Bernie in March 2016, clicked on some 54 times with just 848 impressions. Oh my gosh, I gotta laugh at this one. This is truly funny. Instagram. Or this one of a father teaching his son to shoot. This was perhaps the most hilarious example, clicked on a grand total of 14 times, 13 of them allegedly by Bill Mitchell. Today, Americans are able to elect a president with godly moral principles. Hillary is a Satan, and her crimes and lies have proved just how evil she is. And even though Donald Trump isn't a saint by any means, he's at least an honest man, and he cares deeply for his country. My vote goes for him. I personally don't see anything wrong with that statement. Satan, if I win, Clinton wins. Jesus, not if I can help it. I don't see anything wrong with that either, personally. Who thinks these sorts of ads actually swung the election? And here's the bigger problem. How do you crack down on dissemination of information in a public space? Presumably, these internet companies could shut down accounts that pretend to represent constituencies they clearly don't. A Russian click farm generating a American United Facebook account should be relatively simple to ferret out. But Feinstein wants more than that. She asked Twitter, for example, to hand over all ads and organic content somehow connected with Russia, attempting to suppress voter turnout or otherwise interfere with the right to vote, unquote. That's insanely vague, considering that Democrats believe all voter ID laws to do just that. So what happens if an American citizen in Russia decides to buy a Facebook ad promoting voter ID? Regulating the internet is a dangerous business. It is particularly dangerous when the question isn't Russian law breaking, but Russian disinformation campaigns. Campaign finance reform prevents foreign countries from making election contributions. Although Hillary and most of the Democrats' super PACs and PACs are full of them. But what about generalized political advertising? We have lobbyists who do that every day, and RT operates right out in the open. Here's the question. Is there more danger to the First Amendment from Russians buying ads on Facebook that touch on American politics, or from members of the federal government seeking to regulate the content that can be posted on Facebook and how such content is posted? I'd have to say this to Feinstein. Your judges, liberal judges and everything that are put into place, are trying to contend that Muslims and people that aren't even in this country have constitutional rights under the United States Constitution. I would flip that around and say the same, Miss Feinstein. The Russians have a constitutional First Amendment right too, then. If one is true, the other must be true as well. Correct?